final step on my loan assignment is I want to set up a sensitivity table. So I'm gonna, since I've already got the headers and footers set up on this, I'm gonna right click, make a copy of this sheet, move it to the end, rename this page Sensitivity Table. I'm going to turn off the freeze panes. I'm going to highlight all of my data. So I can hit end and right, cursor over, end and down, end and down, end and down. Basically go through and highlight all where I had some information in. I want to just clear all this stuff away. And start out setting up my loan. So we had an amount, the years, payments per year, and my rate. So let's borrow $10,000 for 4 years, 12 payments per year, and start out at 6%. Then I'll have the number of payments, the periodic payment, total paid, and total interest. Number of payments is equal to 4 years times 12 payments per year. The periodic payment, we'll use the payment function. It's the rate divided by the payments per year. Number of periods is 48. Present value is a negative $10,000. I'm borrowing the money. We can type in a parenthesis and hit enter. I get a payment of $234.85. Right? And I can double check and see if that works out. So let's go back to my payment here. We'll make this $10,000 and make my payment 6%, and we get $234.85. So that looks good. Total paid, 48 payments times $234.85, 11,000 and some change, and my total interest is $11,272 minus the $10,000 that I borrowed in the first place. So I'll use the format painter, adjust the amount. Alright, so what I'd like to know is what would happen if we borrow another $2,000, and what would happen if my interest rate went up 0.5%. So in other words, I want to start out where I've got my $10,000, and then I want to take $10,000 and add the $2,000 on top of it. So I've got 12,000, 14, 16, 18, and so on. Well, in order for me to be able to copy this formula down, I need to use an absolute reference. So I need to make a reference to cell C1, and I'll put a $sign between the C and the 1. So that way when I copy this down, it's always going to reference cell C1, and I get 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and 22. Alright, so that's the first step in my sensitivity table. The second step is I make a reference to the interest rate. Then I'm going to take the previous interest rate, add to it 0.5. So let's format these so they all look the same. So the next one is going to equal 0.65 plus my interest rate, 7%, equals 7% plus 0.05 equals 0.05, or 7.05, 7.5, sorry about that, plus 0.5%. Right, so the idea is you want to be able to take this cell here and copy it all the way over to these cells. Alright, so you need to think about how to set up that. Finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in a payment function. And I'm going to take a payment function using this rate, divide it through by the 12 payments per year. I want to do this for 48 payments, and my present value is a negative $10,000. So we're going to want to always reference that cell too and think about how we want to do that. So I get $234.85. All right, if I was interested in getting this for $12,000, I'd say it equals, try it again, equals PMT. The rate is 6%, divided by 12 payments per year. Number of periods is 48. And I'm going to borrow $12,000. And we get $281.82. So you need to fill in all the rest of these formulas. Now what you should be able to do is you should be able to copy this cell, cursor down, 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 right, 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 hit enter, and it should put in the correct values. Mine isn't because I'm not using the correct absolute, mixed, and relative references. So you need to think about what part of this formula do you need to change so all of them are using the correct references. So I'm going to erase all of this and these, and I want you to think about how to set that up so you can copy that cell. The last thing that we're going to do on this spreadsheet is we want to put in some sort of a maximum amount. In other words, kind of the I can afford amount. I think I can afford $300 per month. Now I want to have that show up on my table to show all the combinations of loan amounts and interest rates that result in a periodic payment of $300 or less. So I'll add some conditional formatting, make a new rule to format only cells that contain something that's less than or equal to cell F2, where I enter in some value that I can afford. If that's true, I'm going to format it and choose a color, maybe light blue, maybe this color blue. If you want to make it gray, it doesn't really matter to me. How about if we make slightly green for it's in the green. Hit OK, hit OK, and there I've got my amount that I can afford. I'll use my format painter, highlight this cell, and sure enough, $234.85 is less than what I can afford. I can also use my format painter and paint my periodic payment. So I want to find out, can I afford $12,000? Looks like $281.82. Yeah, I could do that. 14. Nope, can't quite do that. So it shows up as being white, or in other words, can't afford that amount. So when you set up your sensitivity table, make sure you add in a little bit for some conditional formatting, dress up your spreadsheet a little bit, adjust some of the column widths. That's always a good idea. Use similar formatting on all your cells. Think about how you want to make this look professional, make sure that it fits on the page all right, and you'll be all set. So change a couple formulas here. You'll need to change this 6.5% so you can copy it across. You need to change this payment formula so you can copy it down and to the right, and you should be all set.